are for another deliciously motivated mindset discussion. Hey Deb, how are you today?
Hey Moira, thank you for being on this call with me.
It's my pleasure. I love these conversations, and I hope our listeners get the energy, the mindset boosts that we're intending for them with these conversations.
I think the listeners may not know that we talk for an hour before we get on these calls, and then we go, hang on, we need to be recording this.
We need to speak to the people that we want to talk to.
And sharing our wisdom instead of just sharing it amongst us both. Yes.
Absolutely. Today we want to talk about stress management. We want to do stress management and creating sort of balance and harmony in our life. You know, as I was saying that about stress management, I'm not sure if I like that word or not. I'm going to just sit with that for a moment. Because it's not, so the thing is that stress is a constant in our lives. You can't escape it.
Yeah.
But it's whether you're going to
can I just go back to I'm just going to go back to your in inverted commas. You can't escape it.
That's right. You can't escape it.
Yeah.
No, well said. You can't escape it. But it's about whether you feel your way through it and use it as a gift to steer you in your right choices or in your best choices. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. It's yeah, you can't run away from it, but it's just actually it is what it is, and it's how you can handle your emotions to label it or box it or package it or anything. It's how to handle that. See, I use the word chaos quite a lot.
Yeah.
You know, stress, chaos. You know, your chaos comes in, your emotional wobbles. You know, the wheels fall off your train wreck that's happening. You know, all those things. But chaos, your stress, chaos, your chaos in your mind, your chaos in your body.
Yeah. But that's a really good point, because I'm listening to an audiobook right now that talks about this. And sometimes that chaos can be created because you over-identify or you hold on to something that's pleasing and pleasant, or you reject something that's not pleasing and not pleasant. And so right there, you're causing chaos, because now you're seeing everything around you through the filter of the thing that you're either trying to hold on to or you're trying to reject.
Yeah.
And so really the thing is, to me, the best way for stress management, quotes here, is to access and acknowledge that you are the consciousness viewing it all.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah.
You know, it's the powerful
breath, right?
Yeah, that powerful word, acknowledging. And I think, I know it's just a word, but that's really impactful for anybody who's going through highs or lows or medium wobbles or whatever. Just acknowledge you in this right now, wherever you are, whatever level of chaos or non-chaos, or, you know, if you think everything's going amazing and you're high as a kite, acknowledge it.
Yeah.
Just stop and acknowledge it and feel that for a moment.
Feel the gift of it. Absolutely. But do you know the other part? And so people can cherish the moments of the highs and really get into the acknowledging that. But when we ask them to also acknowledge the lows, the heaviness, maybe the feeling of hopelessness or the feeling of being disempowered, acknowledging that. But the other part, and I often say this to my clients, is you wouldn't be in it if you couldn't get through it.
Oh,
and
absolutely.
Yeah. So don't you think so, that sometimes that chaos is being created by the, oh my God, how can I get out of this? And what do I do? And why did this happen to me? All of that doesn't help.
Yeah, and I think you know, I spoke to a client the other day, and it was quite interesting listening to her beat herself up quite a bit on the call. And you know, I just said, acknowledge where you've been a year ago. Like, where were you a year ago? Where were you 6 months ago? Where were you 2 years ago? But you know, even where were you a month ago? Where were you mentally 2 weeks ago? and you may not have been in a quote, I don't even know why I put my fingers in the air when I talk here. You may not even be in an improved situation, but you actually have survived that stuff. Yeah. You've been through stuff before, you've freaking survived. You may have been completely broken and shattered, but your heart's still beating. Mm-hmm. You learned a stack of lessons, 50 lessons or more to the one thing of somebody doing something to you, or you doing something to you, or whatever. Yep. But you've survived it and you're still here. So
you're still here, you're still standing.
Yeah, I don't think we acknowledge what we've done, where we've been enough.
I agree with you.
It's just being. Stop, be, look at your past. Yes, if you've been through a shite time and you've improved, and you're more uplifted now. But even if you've been through an amazing time and you're not as uplifted now, mm-hmm. look at the bigger picture of that time back there. Mm-hmm. What was truly going on, and were you open to both sides, the positives and negatives of what was actually happening, or were you just seeing one side of somebody, mm-hmm. Complete infatuation, and not seeing that they do have flaws? So when they do something to you, or you recognize it, it's actually going, oh, I missed that. It's the acknowledging word is actually really powerful.
So I agree with you. Acknowledging word is very, very powerful. But I want to circle back on something you said, because I think it's really, really important, and we want to underline this. You talked about pausing and looking back at you. How are you emotionally, mentally, physically, spiritually? How are you a week ago, a month ago, a year ago, 10 years ago? And that is so crucial for this acknowledging part of personal development, growth, spiritual evolution. Whereas a lot of people will not do that. They will compare themselves to other people. And then
far out. Well, that's
into shame and blame, and I'm not good enough, and look at all these people are so much more successful and so much more gifted or capable, and that's where you get derailed, I think.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's that judgment of others, that jealousy.
Yeah.
Social media is an ass for that.
Oh, it's awful. But when you and I have talked about this before, is that social media sets us up for such a false thing to compare. Because if I sit here with my sadness or my heartache or my loneliness, only I know what that feels like. But if I have that and experience that, and then look at an image, a 2D image on my screen, and I even think that I can say that they're happy, just because you see smiling faces on a picture does not mean they're happy. And yet we will compare ourselves to that and say, well, I'm not feeling happy, and look at them, they're having the best event of their life.
Well, that's birthdays, Christmases, New Year celebrations, all those things. But you're right, we do just get so lopsided in what we see. Everybody has both sides. Everyone has an evil side and an angel side, or the devil and angel, and we pull whatever out to what serves us at that time. But we have to live with what consequence it is. But acknowledging is just such a powerful word.
So acknowledging is also a very important part to say. Like, you could be saying, I acknowledge that I did the best. So let's say, and this is something else that can cause stress, is if I made a bad choice, if I didn't come through on a promise, or I over promised something and then I couldn't make it work, or I let somebody down, and I'm going to feel bad about it, right? But if I carry the shame of, I'm a dreadful person because I let that person down, or I didn't come through, or I broke my word, or whatever it is, right? I broke my word to myself, even. Then it's that's causing this sort of sense of disharmony, but it's creating this sense of shame, which then again is like another filter or another burden to be carrying on us, right? Yeah. Whereas if we can just get to the place of saying, it wasn't right or wrong, good or bad, but it is what it was. And I did the best I could with what I had or what I knew or what I believed or what my resources were. That's it. There's an acknowledgement, and then you can let it go.
Yeah. And who you were as a person mentally a year ago is different to who you are mentally now. So
Most
your decision,
definitely.
if somebody said to you, would you, do ABC? A year ago, you may have said yes. Now your choices are very different. Your lifestyle is very different, whatever. So would I do it now? Yes or no? You don't know. I've gone back and looked at, just in saying that, my relationships, my past relationships, 15 years ago, I wouldn't do half the stuff I would do now.
Right.
A different person.
Right.
Back then I barely spoke. I barely opened up and expressed my feelings or anything. Now, it's like Green Mile. I open my mouth and it just keeps coming out. But that's it. There's so much that we've evolved in as we come about, and it can also, even if you've had a yucky sleep, or you've eaten, and I'm going to say eaten junk, your decisions that come out your mouth, what you say and do, will be different if you've had a binge on food for 2 days, or you've had, alcohol or drugs or anything. If you've had a lack of sleep weekend, you've had a party weekend, your decisions on Monday are going to be very different to the decisions on Wednesday when you've had a decent sleep and you've gone and exercised and you've eaten, you've nourished your body and your mind. Yep. Everything's different. So
it is. And so that is a really important part, because I often use analogies like that too in my conversations with people. But the key piece here too is to ensure that version of you on Wednesday that's had the great sleep and eaten and made the healthy choices, that version of you has no right to look at that version where you chose to have the extra drink or eat the unhealthy food or stay up too late. Can't judge that version.
Yeah.
Because that version was making the choices right there.
I just do my cut off sign as if to say, yeah, you're absolutely right.
Stop
that's it.
Talking.
No, yeah. No, I didn't mean you cut off, but I mean, that's exactly it. It means that's it. That is what it is. You just have to acknowledge that that's where you were Monday to, where you are Wednesday. There's nothing, that's it. It is what it is. I remember somebody saying it is what it is, and I was like, well, that's just a cop out. But it freaking is. It is what it is. It just be right here in the present, feel what you're feeling, deal with it. But be aware of the past, Do
you know, and that's an interesting concept too, the little pushback that sometimes people can have with that idea of it is what it is, means that it, to some people, is that it's giving it a value judgment. If you say it is what it is, then you're saying it's okay. I'm not saying it's okay or not okay, but I'm saying it is what it is.
Yeah.
But that to me, in my own way of helping people let go of what's no longer serving them, we need to change. We're always changing, evolving. But the truth is we cannot change anything until we accept and acknowledge what is.
Until we accept and acknowledge what is.
Yeah. Just feel into that, right? It's just, that's it.
Yeah, it is. Except I've got my erecties, my goosies.
Here's goosebump time.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. It is what it is. Yeah. Yeah.
But you see right there, feel into that. And I encourage our listeners to just feel into that. When you accept and acknowledge something, there is a sense of balance and harmony. And that's what we're talking about with this idea of managing stress, to step into a sense of balance and harmony.
Yeah.
And
but everybody does,
and acknowledging, then I am there.
Yeah. I think everybody does the best they can at that time. Mm-hmm. I think because you have the best, I don't believe, we do the best we can at that moment, because that's all the resources we have in our mind and around us, and that's it. When you go back, and I just, I say relationship or business relationship or anything, you go back and you look at that and you go, gosh, I would have done that differently, or I would have done that differently. But if you were to do it differently, your life would be very different. And it is what it is now.
Yep.
Be grateful for what's here in front of you. Be grateful that you've gone through that lesson, or be grateful for whatever it is.
Yeah. Do you know, I was listening to, I'm part of a training course, and it comes the idea of sometimes we overthink about a choice of like, oh, I should have done something different. I should have taken the red pill. Oh, maybe I should have taken the blue pill. Do you know my answer has always been I would take the purple pill.
Well, we know you'd take the purple pill. You're always purple. Well, see, I'll take the red because red's my favourite colour and purple's yours.
I know, but you see, red and blue is purple. So that means I would take them both.
Oh, you take them both. Oh, I didn't even get that part.
That's what the silly Moira's.
I hadn't even got that. I'm just like, well, everything's purple for you. Everything's red for me.
Yeah, red and blue together is purple. But so no, what this conversation I had just this past weekend was, if I sit here and say, oh, how would it have been if I took that path? If I opened door A or if I opened door B, it doesn't matter, because in that moment you made the right choice.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter. You can't, as spiritual beings, it's just by taking the action, sitting in this present moment. Like you've said this a number of times in our conversation here, be here and acknowledge, accept, and work with what's in front of you.
Absolutely. Work with what's in front of you. Work with the best you can.
Yeah. And trust. Remember I said, we are never in situations or environments that we cannot get through or deal with, or we have the inner resources, because we wouldn't be there.
And that goes back to your past, acknowledging your past, because you've had you've been through Shitsville before. Mm-hmm. Everybody's been through Shitsville.
Absolutely.
If I'm not Shitesville, you've been through it before and you survived.
That's
so
right.
know that this lesson here may be bigger than the last one, but you're still going to survive because you've been through more than one Shitesville drive-through.
More than one shitstorm for sure. But do you know the other part in all of this too is that this is where I keep coming back to this idea of balance and harmony, because I really encourage people to not worry about the future, because by staying here in this present moment, and like you just said, acknowledging I've come through some pretty awful stuff, and I know you have too, and look at we're still here, we're sitting talking to each other. But then use that to fuel your trust for you steering forward, because then that means whatever the future brings, I've got it, because I wouldn't create or get into situations where I could not deal with it or experience it or come out a better person because of it.
Yeah, Dr. John DeMartini said, you'll never receive a challenge that the universe, I can't actually remember now I say it, but it's something along the lines of the universe won't deal you with a challenge that you can't handle. I remember thinking, whatever. And it's true.
It is true.
That's just, but it is. I've never experienced anything I can't handle.
Yeah.
And the universe just tests me on certain things, and I go up a level to the next level of knowledge, and if I don't understand it, I'll ask a million quality questions to people till I get an answer. I'll research and I'll learn from it and I'll grow, and then I'll share it with people and share it with my clients, because that's what it's about. So the challenge, like all the challenges we have, are massive blessings when we choose to see it. Yeah. And I think that's that acknowledge again, accept and acknowledge. When we choose to see it, go, okay, this is a shitsville, but there's actually a lot of value that's happening to me right now. Whether it's your...
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
You're right, go.
No, because I would just say to acknowledge, but then the other part too, is, to your point, is that sometimes we don't actually see the gift or the lesson right there.
Yeah.
But just because we don't see it, or we don't recognize the gift or the lesson or even the capacity within us to come through it, that, number one, doesn't mean it's not there.
Yeah.
But number two, you let go and trust it'll show up when it's ready. It'll show up when I'm ready to see it.
That's exactly it. You may not see it straight away, but when you're ready, when you're really ready in your heart, not in your head.
Yeah.
Excuse me, because our head makes decisions differently to our heart.
Mm-hmm.
When you're really ready in your heart, it will open up and you'll see it,
yeah.
and then you can tap into
And I don't know about you, but there's so many teachings that I've been involved with about we can't really trust our head. Actually, I heard this really awesome story about how our head can go. So the story was that this guy sees a guy that looks older, an older gentleman, and in his head he's like, oh my God, that's like my uncle that used to abuse me, and I have to stay away from this guy, stay away from me. This is danger. So this is his mind. And then somebody comes up to this person, reacts and says, taps on the shoulder and says, see that guy over there? That's Bill Gates. He wants to talk to you about something. All of a sudden in their mind, like, oh my God, he wants to talk to me. I wonder what he's going to tell me. What's he going to tell me? Oh my God, I'm so honored. This is so awesome. Look at that. That's the mind.
Yeah.
Same person.
That's a bloody good analogy.
Isn't that an amazing story? I love that. So therefore, you cannot trust your mind, because in a split second, the whole paradigm changed, right?
Yeah. Well, yeah. Well, we can convince. Quote, I put my fingers in the air again. We can convince our mind to do anything.
Yeah.
But your heart is the one to make the decisions. You know, you can list all the benefits to whatever's happened to you in the world, but until it gets into your heart, that's when you go, oh, wow, I get it.
Yeah.
You know, and it's your heart. And it's not your gut intuition. Your intuition is definitely there. You know,
it is.
But it's all different to your heart. Your heart is the one that can drive you. Well, clearly, because if you don't have a heart,
but no, you know, and this is something that I've often said, is that our head, and in my little story there I just shared.
I love that Bill Gates story. Actually, I really love that. I'm gonna.
Isn't that awesome story? I thought that was perfect. But think about, for every emotion or feeling we have, we can have 100 thoughts to justify that's why you feel this way.
Oh,
right?
It's so true.
But, and so our head is like blah, 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 blah. But our heart is so solid and doesn't actually say a lot. You get the, yep. Or in Deborah's case, you get the goosebumps.
Okay, yeah, I just literally got the goosies. I just got the goosies.
The goosies.
Yeah, I just got them then. But that's exactly it. Words are meaningless sometimes when it hits your heart.
Absolutely.
Actually, sometimes when it is. Words are actually, there are no words when your heart's your heart.
No, but whatever does come from your heart, even if it is word-based concept, it feels unconditionally loving.
Yeah.
Right?
It
feels like a big warm hug.
It feels, I've got my goosies going on now and they keep pulsating. Yeah, you're right. It just gets you present. And I think trying to describe that is, that's a centered, you know, we talk about stress management, you know, that's a calmness, a harmony, a balance, no fear of the past, no infatuation with the future or worry about the future. You're just sitting there, and that's when you're in your heart, and there are no words that can be expressed when you're sitting in that, when you've truly managed stress management, when you're truly just sitting present. You know, that's a I've got my goosies all over my body now.
You're funny. You're so funny.
And it's summer. And it's summer
for you, yeah.
Yeah.
So, you know, as we keep talking about this stress managing, to me, sometimes there's a wee bit of a negative connotation to this idea of managing. You know, it's like, oh, I'll manage. Because I'll manage without this, or
I'll cope, or I'll survive, or I'll.
Yeah.
What somebody said to me the other day, is that surviving or is that thriving?
Well, I think thriving is much more important than surviving.
No, and I'm like, Yes, you're right. Is that surviving or thriving? But you're right. It is. Well, thriving gives you actually the lift to do stuff, but also surviving just allows you to be and just sit. And that's when you get into your acknowledge, accept and acknowledge when you're in survival mode. And trust.
That's huge. Trust to me, trust is a big part of thriving, right? Because you can be in a surviving mode, but if you, and those are three, so these would be like the three ingredients to create the recipe for balance and harmony, is that accept and acknowledge and look to thriving.
Yeah.
Because in some ways it's about mindset. In fact, in a lot of ways it's about mindset.
Yeah.
But as
even though we've said then we just said don't listen to the mind, but yeah.
Well, so no, I kind of say mindset and mind is a wee bit different, because in my wee story there about the mind, mind just made up a story of, oh my God, I have to run away from that person, and then, oh, that person is Bill Gates, oh yay, that's the mind. But if I have a mindset that whatever goes on for me or wherever I choose to work forward is the right way for me, then I can let go of my mind chatter.
Yeah, and it is that mind chatter, that mind chaos, that which we can label as that stress.
Yeah, no, and that's a really good point, of that mind chaos can actually be the only culprit of stress that's causing you that stress. So that's something that I actually really encourage people to do, is if I've got a incessant thought of, oh my God, this is it's all going to go wrong, this is all going to fall apart. If I can
you're going to manifest.
Well, absolutely. But if you can just pause and ask, do I know that to be true? Do I know that's the truth? Because oftentimes we are just making up stories based upon ideas, other people's ideas. Because that's another question we can ask ourselves. Is that my belief, or did I inherit it? Am I playing out somebody else's belief?
Yeah.
Right there creates more and more stress too.
Yeah, and I think that's the other thing. Are we taking on someone else's BS, or is it our own? Because clearly it's actually all our own but we tend to take on other people's stuff into our world.
And misrepresent it as being ours.
Yeah, twist it and turn it till it comes our story that entangles us.
Yeah. No, we can often inherit beliefs or idioms or ideals that have got nothing to do with us.
Well, I mean, it's all our, our teachers, our parents, from a young age, our teachers saying you're not going to amount to anything, or, there's so many singers out there whose teachers have said to them, oh, you might as well just get yourself a job in the local supermarket.
Yeah.
Which is apparently degrading. I don't know. It's actually a job where you get paid and you have to learn people skills very freaking quickly, and you've actually got to keep your appearance up. You've got to wear respectable and be presentable, which which is a lot more than some jobs. But they say to people, you're not going to be a singer. Give up now.
Yeah.
And that's that fire. Like, you tell me I can't do something, and I then go, do I want to do it to prove them, or do I actually really truly want to do it?
Very, very well said. Yeah.
Most of the time it comes like, we'll just do it.
I'll show you. Actually, it's really funny, because I remember a time when I was, I don't know what age I was, very young, maybe not even teenage years. And I remember my mum saying that I had a scar on the back of my leg, and she told me that would mean I could never be a model.
Oh, wow.
And I thought it was in later years, realizing that's because she wanted to be a model, maybe, and sort of putting that on me.
Well, isn't it funny, because that's just a remark. It's just a remark. And she may have just gone, oh, sweetheart, you're never going to be a model.
Yeah.
That, and in fact, in saying that, that's funny about the scar, because my daughter had an operation, or she broke her arm at age 2, and then that was another story and a half, because they nearly trespassed me from the hospital because I said you've set her arm wrong, and argued with them. But anyway, I probably wasn't as forceful as I am now, but they did try to trespass me, but that's another story. But when they went back after so many weeks, 3 weeks or something, and they'd set it, when they took it out of the cast, they said, "Oh, we set this wrong."
Oh, for goodness sake.
No, it's just like, I should have just voiced it even louder than I was. But then they said, okay, well, when she's 5 or 6, we'll have to, reset her arm, basically.
Yeah.
And then they said to me, she will never be able to have a perfect elbow, so she will never model. And I remember saying to them, it's something along the lines of, well, if she wants to model, a deformed arm isn't going to stop her.
No.
Like, I remember just thinking, who the frick are you to tell me if my daughter wants to be a model? Like, because she's got a deformed arm, or she's going to have a scar. Like, seriously? Like, get a life, lady.
Yeah.
But some people could take that and hold on to that, and like you said,
create it as a limitation.
Yeah, and clearly that doctor had that perception of whatever it was. I don't know, but I remember thinking, don't you try and tell my daughter not to do anything. If she wants to do it, she will do whatever. And because she's got a scar or a bone that sticks out or whatever, seriously, get a life, is my thought.
Yes.
But we do hold on to that stuff.
So I really like what you've just shared there, because, we can take somebody else's opinion or limitation, and we can take it as the fire to ignite something, or we end up unconsciously taking it on as the truth. So where I'm coming from with that idea is, I actually broke my arm probably about 6 or 7 years ago, and the specialist told it was a really bad...
There's your modelling days over, Moira. Just like that.
Just completely.
Damn.
No, so it was a really awful break. It completely shattered my arm. And so in doing the rehab and going through physio, the specialist said to me that with really good physio, I would be able to raise my hand just to the level of my head to do my hair. I would never be able to put my hand up over my head. And I remember listening to him and thinking, that's interesting. That's just an opinion. And
wow.
I decided, I'm going to show you. But this was my decision. So right there, you see, I could have just said, oh yeah, there's no point. That's all I'm going to
set that limiting belief in your mind and been very firm on that. Yeah.
Yes. And I know a lot of people that might have done that. But of course, as you know, I can put my hand over my head.
If I want to wave at that person in the crowd, I want to have my hand up. It's going to go up. Yeah.
Exactly. But I remember consciously not feeling, I think that age and wisdom and acknowledging and accepting has a lot to do with this. Because I remember just listening to him. That was based on his reality. That's based on his assessment of this pretty bad break. But I thought, well, I animate this body and I'm going to choose something different.
Yeah. And I think, I think for medical practitioners, I would say they have to give you the quote worst case scenario.
Yeah. Yeah, and I get
instead of giving you hope or anything. But there are people who, will have that fire, people who will accept it and people who won't.
Yeah.
And that also depends on what your sleep, what you've eaten, what's going on in your life, whether you accept it, and you're just like, okay, I'm done. If I'm never going to be a model, then okay, that's it. I'm done. Yeah. And then the others who just go, well, exactly. I'll just show you, and you are going to be my driver, mister.
And that was it. And it was because it was really interesting, all the physio appointments that I went to, the physio used to say to me, they'd never seen anybody as driven and as I would always do my homework. Once I'd go for an appointment once a week and they'd say, Moira, I need to do this half an hour or this and half an hour. I was doing it all. And they said in the department, they'd never known somebody to do it. And I was like, well, I've got a mission.
And see, that's the funny thing. You're like, well, why would you not want to do it? Like you
Exactly.
said, if I do this, it's going to heal. Why would I not want to do it? Like,
why
you
would I want
dick.
to do it?
Yeah.
But see, creating harmony and balance in your best way. And it is about always recognizing that you get to choose. It's that I acknowledge that I am the driver of this bus that is the vessel through my life.
Yeah.
Right.
And trusting that you've been through shite before, you can survive a lot more now.
Absolutely.
You know? And you're older and wiser. Well, I'd like to think we're older and wiser because we've got a lot more lessons tucked under our belt. Because we know what happens if you don't get the lesson first up.
That's right. Get smacked by that whale.
Yeah, that damn whale that knocks you out. But I understand how the medical have to tell you certain things, but it's just an opinion. That's it. It's just an opinion. And your parents, our teachers, our mentors, everybody has an opinion. Our partners, our children, bringing up children, people say, oh, you shouldn't do that. Well, but I want to do that. You shouldn't do this. And, all the festive seasons and this and this and this, should not. And it just wakes us up to what's in our own truth. What's truthful for us.
That is so important, because that to me is one of the biggest de-stressors, is to always come back to your choice, your opinion, your options, rather than listening to somebody say, oh, you shouldn't do that, you should do this, you shouldn't. Acknowledge that's your opinion, and everybody is welcome to their own opinion.
And you can take it or leave it.
Yeah. And you can take it or leave it. If it feels right, if it resonates at a heart level, great. But if it doesn't, if it feels like an obligation or a weighty heaviness on you or creates more stress.
Obligation's a complete arse.
Yeah.
Because the person at the other end doesn't feel it, that you're doing it with a heart. You are not doing it with a heart, and that just destroys a lot. Obligation. That's a whole new podcast, obligation.
Yeah, we'll chat about that one more.
Definitely. Yeah. But it is an awakener, I think. Just accept, acknowledge, trust. They're the three things.
Yeah, I love that. That's the brilliant foundation to create that balance and harmony and be the best stress manager around. Yeah. Acknowledging stress there. There's no point in fighting it or wishing it away. It's there. It's part of life. That is actually a constant. You can depend on, there is going to be stress.
But stress, there's massive blessings to stress, because it gets you grounded and gets you really present. Right. So instead of just going, oh, I've got to deal with this again, actually just, like it does, it gets you present and decides what's important to you. Mm-hmm. The people around you, the energy you're putting out, the energy you're taking in, the activities, it just makes you get, present on what's important.
Yeah. And so then choosing what's my best way through this. Yeah. So maybe we could start seeing stress as a blessing and create more harmony using that. And I love that. I think we should all really should. Hey, I just said should. you should do this. No, the whole idea of that accept, acknowledge, and trust.
I'm just going to add, recently I was talking about stress with someone, and I said, stress is the new black. And we all have it.
Yep.
And we deal with it differently. And we wear it with pride sometimes. Mm-hmm. I've got this problem, and then the others just hide away from it, but it's just, a lot more people are talking about it, which I love. Yeah. But I would actually prefer them to talk to a professional rather than just offload to their friends who just get completely drained, and that's where we get that obligation. Absolutely. But it is like it is the new level.
Mm-hmm. No, it's well said. It's well said. And but like you say, choosing the right ear to talk to about it, so that you can have somebody hold space for you, and then perhaps suggest some ways of releasing. As you know, I'm all about the letting go.
Yeah, which is perfect, because people, you've got Moira and Deborah here, so reach out.
Absolutely.
I would rather you reach out than sit in your rowboat of poop trying to get out of it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And so here's an invitation as we start getting ready to end off our conversation today. The invitation is to try these ideas that we've shared, that accepting and acknowledging and trusting. And if you break the bubble or the oppression or the heaviness of your stress, then that's great. We've really helped you. But if you start feeling like it's swallowing you up, or it's too heavy, or it's bigger than you, reach out. Reach out to Deborah, or reach out to myself, or reach out to your coach, or a professional.
Put your hand up.
Exactly. Well said. Put your hand up.
Put your hand.
Ask for help. You deserve it, and you are worthy of support and love to creating balance and harmony.
Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome.
Well, I what a great call today.
Mm-hmm.
What a great call, because it's opened me up to thinking wider on certain things as well.
That's awesome. Me too. I liked how this kind of layered, and I love that idea that we've come up with this 3-step or 3 ingredients to your stress management.
Well, I love that we had no idea what we were going to talk about.
I know. We just make it up as we're going along.
But it's so, my goosies are clearly telling me, I love it. I love it. Thank you, Moira. Thank you, listeners, for allowing us to share our wisdom and not wisdom. And of course, don't listen to any of it, or do. I wish you a creative, balanced, and harmonious experience. Thanks, Deb. And thanks Moira.
Talk to you.
Thank you, everyone. Bye.